Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Thanks to everyone.
Fabulous. How are you?
Sup, Sutter, Amy, Kevin, Tate. Great to see you guys. And look who we've got with us. Of course, the amazing host, Amber. And then we've got Tricky here, our famous artist, community artist. Yeah, so hope everyone had a great holiday. And yeah, we're going to talk
Happy
about
December.
What was your guys' favorite part about the meal?
cheesy potatoes.
Naps
alcohol.
afterwards.
There's this like smoked mac and cheese thing that someone makes. They make mac and cheese and they smoke it. It's really good.
Like
but then
with
someone made
papers, roll it up and
yeah the smoker. There's this
yo, you
oyster.
ever hit that Mac? Yeah, what
Someone
strain
made
you
this.
got?
Someone made this gross ass oyster dressing though. It was like stuffing, but with oysters. Wasn't very popular.
Interesting.
Pretty
That
gross.
sounds
It
very
smelled like it smelled pretty fishy.
I like oyster sauce on my I almost said pasta. I mean ramen, like that Asian oyster sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Channel 1Ace7, what's up? Good to see you. K-pop junkie, how's it going, fam?
What's up, Spain?
We've got 5 topics tonight. We're going to try to spend like 15-20 minutes max on them all, even though some of them are kind of big. So I had a question for Tricky to kick it off, and I'm going to share. So this is what I drew last night, and then I'm going to share screen, window.
What's up, Tate? What's up, Deepin?
Okay. Sure. So this is one of the references I used for this book. Now, is it cheating to use a reference? Was going to be my question.
Well, I don't think it's cheating to use a reference. Actually, I think the best way to get better at drawing, if you can manage it, is to completely, identically draw someone else's work. So, like this picture, for instance, here, the more extreme one, up close. If you actually drew that, you printed it off and actually drew it line for line, it's a good way to learn how to draw. And then, so you'll see people.
I do all the detailing myself, but I use the lines for reference. Like I'll look at it and I'll do my best. It takes a while, but so far it's been pretty good. It served me well, learning wise and practice wise. But would you consider it cheating?
You might see someone on Instagram who draws like J. Scott Campbell or like Bruce Timm, and it's basically what they're doing is they're studying those works because they like those artists, right? So they're studying those works to the point where they're drawing like those artists, and sometimes they're gaining popularity, but really they're just getting better at drawing. And then obviously all the greatest comic artists in the world use references. Usually it's like a photo reference, like Alex Ross. He takes thousands of photos, and he's using those references of real people. And I would say someone would argue that it is cheating because you're taking someone else's work, but if you're just doing it and you're crediting that artist, like, hey, this was my reference, it was Jim Lee, and this is what I've done. Obviously it's just a reference. And I think it's good to do. I'd use references. I use photo references. Like, say I'm drawing usually I'll use references like as a pose. Like I'll take a pose, and then I will change some things, like maybe where the arms are placed. But sometimes you just have to, like, for instance, someone has commissioned me to do like a Golden Age Batman punching Hitler with a Joker in the background wearing a Nazi outfit. Well, he based off the artist that he is the favorite artist, I have to go and then study that guy's lines, and I'm likely to pull a pose from that guy, of somebody, I'm likely to pull art from that artist and to attempt to draw just like him. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't think it's cheating myself. It's not like you're copying Jim Lee and you're pulling it off of your own art.
I had that Wonder Woman commission was it was he had a very specific request of he wants to he wanted it to look like a cover that was done by a famous artist, and he sent me the picture of the book, and I did it, but it looked nothing like it. But it also, you couldn't deny the similarities. But so I feel like it's not cheating; it's a good learning tool. But do you have to, like, if you were to submit it, would you have to say like that it's an homage or cover swipe or something when you submit it?
If you were submitting it to what?
Like being graded.
Like for grading?
Oh
Mhm.
no, no,
Or selling
grading
it.
people wouldn't even care. You know what I mean? What it was like.
Well,
I'm
what
not
would
gonna
make you
say-
feel morally comfortable with yourself? Would you say that, or would you just be like, eh?
Um, I think if you're doing it, I mean, it's likely that you know what it is and that people will recognize it, especially if it's like very iconic. So, um, I don't think that really people are trying to pass work off like that, like probably in general. Um, but like for instance, let's just say I was drawing a piece and I was submitting it for an auction, like an actual original art auction, like Comic Link or Heritage. I would simply say, "This is Tricky Trapster after Jim Lee." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you would submit it like that in
Yeah.
the sense that
Like this one,
that's what
like
you're
Jim
trying to
said.
portray what they did. Yeah.
So after an artwork by Tricky, if I were to use one of your pieces for a
Right,
reference,
right.
and
This
that's
is
how you would
Max
like to list
Comics
it.
after Tricky Trapster.
Okay,
Right.
that's good to know.
Because it's undeniable what it is, right? If it's very
Mhm.
iconic. So you're not getting away with anything and you're not
Or
really
like if you
cheating.
do the very popular the Spider-Man crouching down the McFarlane thing, and people do cover
Yeah.
swipes of that
If
all
I
the
was trying to
time.
copy Peach Momoko, I would say Tricky Trapster after Peach Momoko. And it would be okay.
They're putting
Interesting.
that on some covers lately. Like the Stray Dogs, the one that I sent in, stupid. They gave it the wrong. They said that this is cover swipes the 1992 Bram Stoker's Dracula movie poster, which is what the cover A would have done. This was cover B, so they messed up. But I noticed that they said cover swipes the movie poster, and I thought that
cover
was really
swipes.
interesting, and that made me
Right.
question: should I do that when I make art? So
Yeah.
that's
So
good
you're
to
cover
know.
swiping like that whole, I can't remember the issue, but where Wolverine's got the reflection cover and his Blades of Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, Hulk book. You would say you were cover swiping it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Depends on what and where you are posting it. If it's for learning, tap the original artist and show their work. Most of the time, they will follow you, share it on their page, or give you tips. Oh God, Tricky is here. You bet your ass he is.
I did
McFarlane after
do.
McFarlane.
J. Scott Campbell did this art challenge. It was like a draw this in your style, and it's probably one of the more popular ones that happened in like the art community, the comic book community. And it was of that black cat where she's got the pearls in her mouth or something, and she's on her knees. You know what I mean? And I drew Madam Web, looking all saggied, and like she's an old lady, right? So I drew Madam Web in that pose. He never did share it. So K-pop, you're not exactly right. I wish you would have.
Sometimes they might. Sometimes
I don't want to share Madam Web looking like that.
So Tricky, how long have you been doing commissions?
Well,
Is this a new thing for you?
no. So basically, based off my personality, when I found lowbrow art, I really felt at home with the types of things that I draw. Obviously, there's things that are very lewd in some cases, very extreme, and in the lowbrow community, which is largely like independent creation type art, like you're creating characters or designs that are one of a kind, like your style, like the lowbrow scene is very indie, like so I felt really at home drawing those types of things. And when I found lowbrow art, I was really like, this is my calling, right? Though I've always read comics and loved comics, but this was where I felt at home as an artist, like in regards to who I am. And so there, I did take commissions in the lowbrow scene before I got into the comic book community. So it's not necessarily new. I've set up at Comic Con because I had a self-published comic back in like 2015, and so I would set up at conventions there, and people passing would just be watching me draw, and maybe they liked what they seen and would get a commission. So it's not new. I've been doing it for some years. So
Gotcha. How long does it usually take you to do a cover? Average, because I know every cover is going to be different.
Yeah, it's going to be on average like 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 5 if it's like pretty intense. But just a blank sketch cover is not very big. Where an 11 by 17 full commission may be like 5 to 7 hours, like in total. But if it's simple,
Marvel.
it
Yeah,
could be
but
just.
tomorrow we've got an hour to complete our shit.
So here's what I
Like,
say we should do. Here's what I do and how I do it is, say I have a bat. This is a perfect example, and this has got like drink stains on it and names on it. So so I have a Batman commission, and what I do is I take a normal comic book board and I draw out like a preliminary deal. This is nothing like what I'm going to do on the sketch cover, but my last week of like very drunken night was like this prelim. And so I'll get something rough, and this is pretty tight actually, but I'll do something rough on a backing board really quickly, and then I kind of know what I want to do on the sketch cover, because you don't want to go in. I mean, you can go into a sketch cover blind, but it's best to have something in mind, right? Because erase marks, like you don't want to really have like a super dirty sketch cover if it's going to be white. And so I always mock up some sort of preliminary drawing on a throwaway backing board, and then at least you have an idea of kind of the structure of the thing. So in this case, it seems like what they're going to do is something like this. This is just a scenario. Okay, Max, I want you to draw. Our vision for this sketch cover would be um, Erica Slaughter, busting out of the chest of a monster with her knives, and there's blood. That's kind of what I'm foreseeing. And then you will be like, okay, well, I have to do this, and then they're going to give me a different scenario, a different cover, and so it's best to probably have something in mind when you're going into it. That's probably what I'm going to do, is I'm going to use the first 15-20 minutes drawing that up on the prelim, and then when I go on sketch cover, I have a pretty clear vision of what is going to happen.
yeah. That's what I was thinking of doing, just doing a bunch of practice sketches.
Yeah, I mean, probably on the spots when I'll do mine, and then it can be very loose, but you could look like scribbles to everyone else, but to you, you'll know what you see. You know what I mean?
You see your the way that you want it.
Yeah.
You know where you're going, right?
That's dope. Okay, so, yeah, I have a bunch of commissions I'm working on for everyone. I'm sorry it's taken me a while to get to them, but I've got a few that are going to be shipping out here shortly. I do have a wait list. I'm trying to not encourage people to put more onto that, because the people on the wait list, I don't have a time frame for them yet. They're just in order as they come in. So I'm not as speedy as Tricky yet, but I'll get there someday.
Well, I hit up people for commissions because I collect art as well from other artists, and sometimes it's like 6 months out, but
Right.
it's best to go with a name, and then because you might not want to draw for like a month, then when you're ready to draw it, you could say, hey, I'm at your name, and we'll get working on it, or but it's likely that you're going to get hit up with people who are pretty impatient. I've actually commissioned a guy. If you wanted me, I can share his page. Art of Caesar is kind of I think that's kind of the page name. Art of Caesar, and he originally, like, what he does is he creates the mock-up for like statues. So if you were like the PVC statues that you see at like GameStop, he draws those things, and then an artist will create like the 3D model off of his drawings. And so he works kind of in comics, but he's pretty great. I mean, he's a good artist, and I'm like over 2 years on this guy. He's like waiting on this guy to finish my stuff, and I think he's just lazy. He's already actually drawn it, and he kind of talked about not having the money to ship it, and because after COVID, and I shot him like another $100. I was just like, throw in some more art, and he's just gone. I haven't seen him for some months. So there's long wait times. So it's to be expected. I think Mike, X-Men Mike's waited on this commission from a professional for a long time, and he's pretty jaded about it as well. So there's a little bit of leeway there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Okay.
also- yeah.
All right. I'll put the next question in the chat right now.
Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Next
So,
topic.
question number 2. How has and how will Image's announcement that they will no longer be doing second prints due to supply chain issues affect the new comic book market, like modern books? In 2012, they did something similar, but Saga was so popular they had to go back on that. Now Saga number 55 is being under-ordered. Will shops order more first prints now? Will it hurt fans? What
I don't think it's going to hurt fans. I don't think it's going to hurt fans at all. But I do think that shops will order more first prints.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I think that it's just going to put more value in that first print. I'm actually not mad at it at all. I mean, try to keep up with print number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're like, oh my god.
Pretty annoying.
And all the variants too.
Yeah, it's
like I haven't seen any ratios or variants for Saga number 56 or 55, which is coming out.
It's a lot. It's been a lot. The ratios, the variants, every store exclusive. It's been a lot lately, and especially these past few years. So I think to calm it down, I think it's going to be a good thing in the end.
I think so. That sounds good. It like Adam here. It saves him some money. They're still going to have those. They're still going to have those variants that the exclusives, or there's still going to be plenty of first print exclusives out there, right? And then but it makes it easier on everyone, and really, it might make that first print go up more so than it would had instead of having a rare second print or third print. The first print will just have a better market value.
Do you think they'll go back on it like they did in 2012? Or are they going to stick to their guns because of those supply chain shortages?
I think they're going to be forced to stick to their guns at some point. And in 2012, it was a little different. You know what I mean? It wasn't because of supply chain issues or anything like that. So I think it's going to be a little bit different this time around.
They're going to be forced to because it's literally not available at reasonable prices for them.
Right. But, you always have to leave the door open for them to say, JK, something happened. We can do second prints or third prints or whatever. I mean, you just don't know what the future holds. But at the end of the day, it's like you still get the book. You just might not get a second, third, fourth, fifth print. Like what we have, like 8 or 9 prints for Sick number 1.
Yeah, Killing the Children number 1.
Yeah.
It's gonna depend on the book, in my opinion.
Who do you think it'll be harder on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Trick.
I think it will depend on the story. If it's a true success, like Something's Killing the Children, and it's so successful that we're likely to get some sort of media deal out of it, then it's likely that they'll go back on their word with that. But who knows? Like Amber said, it's up in the air. Really, they can always just say if they have the ability to second print it, they will. If they feel like it's there, and then they're going to make.
If something changes, they'll second print it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think it'll be harder on the collectors, the people that are there to read, or?
No, I think it will be easier. They won't have to worry about what's coming out next. How many get this? Where can I find the second print, third print, fourth print? It's going to be like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'll get.
Yeah,
so go to your LCS now and add it to your box.
Yeah, if they're really just there to read, then they won't give a fuck how many prints there are. They're going to read it somewhere for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see some comments here.
I will say most people are wanting to have that physical copy, especially if the other prints are different covers of their favorite artists, stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand, Jim. We're gonna get some into some like semi-political stuff later, but like not about like presidents and shit. But I don't know what it'll do, honestly.
Jim's just mad at the president or something.
We're always mad at the president for something, no matter who it is.
Why didn't you fucker? We're not getting our second and third prints.
You messed up the
I'm gonna write
comment.
an angry letter to my congressman.
he's so angry at Biden. I know.
I agree
Which
with
is
what Kate says
understandable.
here. Second prints for big books, not every single release. So, like, I
Right.
think Department of Truth, we could have cut it off at third print. Something's Killing the Children, we could have cut it off at fifth print. It's oversaturating the market. They think people want it, and we feel obligated to it because it's like, oh, I have all the other ones, so I better get this one too. Like, it's a completionist thing going on in the back of our OCD minds. So, yep, exactly. I feel obligated to collect it all, so I would love no more multiple printings. Exactly.
Right.
I could play it better myself. Cold. Yeah.
Can I pose some sort of question to you based off Edwin's response?
Mm-hmm.
We know that these books, like some of these second, and third, fourth, fifth, sixth, tenths, or whatever prints they go to, are so popular that they're actually, obviously they're more expensive than books in the 60s and 70s and 80s or reprints. The very first reprint would be like, say it's, Marvel Tales, or in Spider-Man's case, like the very first reprint of the book is, they're all basically dollar books. And then these other printings of new modern books are very expensive, in some cases hundreds of dollars. So
Mm-hmm.
like I guess the question is, like, do you feel like that's okay? Like, do you feel like the market's justified, and how so? And like, just what are your in general thoughts about reprintings of the first reprintings of these old books in
Well, I
comparison
think
to these moderns?
like with these modern books, we put the value in them. Nobody, it doesn't matter. Go Collect, Key Collector, CBCS, CGC, Cover Price, whatever you go to. I mean, we put the value in these books. So when people are hounding for them and going crazy over them, that's where the value comes from, is us trying to get them. The X-Men books that were reprinted, I think it started at like issue number 60 or something like that, and it went to like 80 something, and they were reprints of some of the early ones. They still have a lot of value in them. But I mean, those were, I guess those are a little
Kind of
different.
an exception.
Yeah, they weren't like necessarily second prints of that book. They were reprints, different numbered. Some of them had different covers.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
under 100 of Marvel, like it's Silver Age,
Right.
X-Men, right? They're like the most popular Marvel characters.
Right. And when you get reprints now, like you get, like I guess like the facsimiles, stuff like that. Like those are always nice because then you can read a book that, you can't crack open because it's
You can
too
thrash on it, yeah,
expensive.
if you had to. Like it's just tossing it by the toilet and taking a deuce and reading it. If
Right.
that's what you guys do. I know ladies don't poop, but
He's right. But I mean, I think that what's happening is the market right now is completely oversaturated with these new books. And what's going to happen if they stick to what they're saying with these first prints, even if they somehow down the line go to second prints, that's fine. But there's going to be more value in those. Because it's kind of like the value is spread out between, the first print to the 9th print, 10th print, whatever. I feel like every time a new print comes out, it kind of gets a little bit devalued. So I think that you're going to hold more value in those first prints.
Definitely I agree with that. Obviously there's a lot of newcomers to the comic book community, and there's a lot of people reaching out for new content, not Marvel and DC, because they're either sick of, those old reusing those classic characters in each volume, or they're sick of the politics of where these two companies are going. So they're reaching out for these indie books. But it oftentimes, there's obviously countless factors that go into what makes a book expensive. As far as eBay manipulation, which is definitely a thing that is going on. These auctions, like real professional auctions, are manipulating the market because people who are in charge are using the platform to manipulate. And, it's hard to really value anything. I guess it's just kind of hard when, I always say like a book is not until it's hot. And
Mhm.
what that means is it could be $1 book, and then some news happens and people start posting it for more money, and then people see that when they go to post, it's worth more money, so they're posting it more money, and they're seeing what people are posting it at, bringing their values up there. Then eventually, you look at a $5 book, and then you're like, when did this get to be $100?
Right?
It's craziness. It's craziness.
It happens a lot. That happens a ton, and it especially happens when, that happens with a show that's going to drop, a movie. All of a sudden somebody sees something and they're like, whoa, let me go back to this book because this happened here. And then all of a sudden overnight value jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Out of the
Yeah.
blue, like a dollar bin book, like from the back issues of that used to be $1, like what is
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Marvel Comics Presents number 72. Like that jumped, like went pew,
Mhm.
Yeah.
freaking rocketed.
Yeah, for
Just
real,
because.
that stuff, it's just nutty. It makes someone, I could see where it would make someone just want to buy, and just sit and hold if that's
Mhm.
what they're really like. Say they're an investor, and there's a lot of investors in the community who only collect keys, and they're only going after those things that are hot on the top 10. We didn't give a fuck
Right.
about Omega Red, a year ago. It was a $5 book, but now that there was news, it wasn't even real news. It was fake news for that guy in the chat. It's fake news, and now the book popped up. Obviously, it's cooled off because the whole market's down. But sometimes you got to look at a book, and it never changes to you. You might say to that book, "This is a $5 book, and I can't see it any other way, so I'm not going to pay over $5 to $10 for it." But I
Right.
feel like a lot of the comic market is driven by resale value, and people like capitalizing on what's hot, and that's unfortunate. But it also is what a lot of people do for a living, sell books. So it's not unfortunate, but it is unfortunate in a way. It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
Right. Right. Tate. I have to laugh at Tate's comment. I'm sick of it's been optioned because look, we know Max and I say it all the time,
We're
right?
sick of saying it, but we gotta.
Oh my God, everything's been optioned. It's like, how do you combat that?
Yeah,
I'm like, damn,
it's
in
no
like
longer
2023, we're going to be
it's not a
watching TV
special
all day long.
anymore. It's
Yeah.
everything's optioned. It's not a special identifier
Yeah.
like about the book. So
It's been optioned. It's been like Gun Honey was optioned before the book came out. I was like, what is this book about?
at the end of the show, this has been optioned. At the end of the show, I'll do a giveaway for this.
Nice.
I'll do a trivia
It's
question.
been optioned.
It's been optioned. All right, let's take a look at our third question, if we can.
Oh, what's number 3? And if you guys have any questions in the chat, post them. We will answer them.
I knew
Oh,
it
bad
wasn't gonna get
idea.
me, Tate. Don't worry about it.
Bad Idea Comics.
Don't do
Okay. Well, let me say something about Bad Idea Comics. They literally said in the beginning of all of this that it was going to be some kind of publicity stunt. And that they would go away, but they're going to come back as something else.
Okay, I've never heard of this at all.
Bad idea?
Yeah, please explain everything, at least to me, and maybe there's somebody in the chat who's never heard of it.
Okay, Bad Idea Comics is strictly they sold 2 shops, and you cannot sell that book online. That was the rule, the deal. And the crazy thing is to be able to get to, there was nobody in like the state of Alabama that was selling any of theirs. To be able to get to sell their books, you had to apply. You had to send pictures of your storefront. You had to send pictures of your employees. You had to send all this kind of stuff. And not a lot of people got approved because, let's keep it real, not a lot of comic shops have X amount of employees. You know what I mean? It's not something where, you've got 20 employees sitting in your building or whatever. And they were only sold in shop, and every customer could only buy one.
Right, sorry. Go back just a hair. What is Bad Idea Comics?
It was a company that made like ENIAC.
Still is, right?
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything from them for a while.
So what you're saying is an independent publisher who was basically screening shops to be able to like hold their books.
Right. So the day ENIAC #1 was the day it came out selling for $150
Yeah. First
on
prints,
on
yeah.
auctions. So it would be like if I went to a shop and bought it, and then I went online here to sell it.
Okay. So it's a publishing company, and that's
Yeah.
what three Bad Idea is. Bad Idea is a publishing company.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's interesting. There's one of my LCSs, you have to pay in advance for every single issue that's in that run, because usually they're like 4 to 6 issues per run, or unless it's a one shot. And one of our LCSs here that we go to regularly, they're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay for the full series so that we can pre-order it all, and you're getting it whether you want to or not, because it was so difficult, I guess, for them. I don't know. But then there's other shops that aren't following the rules of 1 per customer and all of this.
Right.
So
I think they'll be irrelevant. I mean, I completely actually forgot that they were still around.
Yeah, that this comment here, so they just release limited books. So it's a limited. Are the books that they release exclusive to their publishing company? They're just an independent publisher, right?
Yeah. So it would be like Image or, you know,
So,
IDW
like,
or something like that.
Is that eventually people are stop. I mean, if they have to screen comic book shops for them to feel eligible to send it to give them their books, then people are going to get burnt out on that. They're publishing or comic book shops are going to just eventually going to say, well, fuck it. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, and a lot of people, like Tate said, a lot of people, they shop online, or they have online pull boxes, or, you know, whatever the situation may be. They weren't allowed to fill those. So, cause you had to go to a shop to get it. And if you were, as a seller, if you were caught selling online, they would basically delete your account. Like, you no longer had an account with them.
So the books are rare because not a lot of people can get them.
They are, but they made that such a hard situation. Like, you don't know about them. You're slinging books every week. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know about them because their exclusivity kind of created a barrier for them. It put them up against the wall.
So is their product, what makes their product stand out? Like, what makes their product so good that they feel like that they can do these things?
It was just an idea that they threw out there. It was literally just an idea. People flipped out with their first books, but I mean, other than that, like, I haven't seen any of them kind of circulating.
It would have to be. It would have to be, you know, either their stories are just so fantastic, the product as far as the physical copy is so damn nice that it trumps all comic books, right? Like,
they do have really nice materials. They do bring quality to the table. I'll say that much.
I think I actually have a few of them somewhere.
That's fair. You know,
that I bought online.
I would say those special edition books, and actually, just right now, I got this from Southern. I will say, just for the sake of what we're talking about, I got this special edition Moon Knight, and what I feel like is special about these outside of the original cover is that the paper quality is really nice, and the colors are really on and popping. So they are reprints of the books, but they're not on newsprint. They're on like a nicer stock, and that's, even though they're dollar books, I give them a value based off the quality of the book that makes me feel like I want to own it, like, because it's an original cover, the paper's really good, and the colors are on and popping, and they stand out. If you put this up to the original book, you know, they stand out in quality, and so that would make sense that if Max is saying is true, is that the quality of what the materials and the ink is really nice, then okay, I can see why they feel like their product is better. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go potty.
Okay. Yeah,
and I'm gonna wash my hands, even though I'm not touching anything.
That's funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh boy. So yeah, bad idea. Overall, I kind of feel like it was a bad idea.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that. You know, to be honest, until you posted that question to me today in IG, I was like, oh, I forgot about them.
Yeah, they were hot for a minute, and then everyone kind of forgot about them.
Yep, absolutely, they did. Yes.
I'll post
All right,
the fourth
guys.
question here.
Do we? Okay.
I don't think he sends books in for grading, so but he'll put his 2 cents in. Plus, guys don't take so long in the bathroom. He'll be fine.
I'm not sending books in right now. I'm just like, but go ahead and read the question.
All right. Yeah. CGC and CBCS are hiring people by the hundreds to speed up the rate of grading. Doesn't this mean quality will go down in order to bring turnaround time up? If they are increasing supply to accommodate demand, shouldn't prices be flat? Shouldn't the prices also go back down to where they were before the big boom?
Well, second part, yes and no. If they're getting, I mean, you got to think about it. If they're getting more people, if they're hiring more people, they have more books, they still have more overhead. So they're going to have to raise prices. They're going to have to. They have more people to pay. They have more people to pay.
Yes, but they're also able to do, when they do their turnaround times a lot faster. I know, like supply and demand. Like
they say it is, but is it really?
I'm not sure. This is one that's boggling me. This is a question that Remy posed to me, and we were talking about it, and you could see that my like loading sign was kind of spinning very slowly up there, and I was like, I'll throw it in there because I'm sure the chat will have great answers for me, and you guys will too. So
yeah,
this is one that I'm kind of confused about, but I feel like that if they aren't careful to take the time to make sure they are properly training these new people that they're hiring by the hundreds, it could be a total shit show. They could lose their credibility. Absolutely. Like, they're still the top. They're still going to be in the top, but they could use their credibility. Less people will be slabbing comics.
I'm not sending comics in to anybody to get graded. I don't trust any of them right now.
Started. I'm sending some to CGC soon because I'm mad with CBCS. So take that.
And you're such a CBCS fan.
I know. It's just proof. Like, it takes a lot to turn me, but that's a possibility. Hello. I play the cat. Okay.
Yeah, I think that until they really get to a point where their turnaround time and their consistency is really up to par, a lot of people just they're gonna stray away no matter what. Should take the power away. Yeah. And we can do that. That's the thing. We put the demand into whatever we buy into, whatever company we use. That's what gives them the power, is us loading our money into them.
What do you mean by taking the power away from CGC and CBCS?
I think he means just what I said. You know, when we're sending our books into them and we're giving them our money and we're giving them their work. Yeah, we're giving them the work. We're sending them our books. We're giving them the power. Like, we're holding them up as a company.
But then, how do we get our books verified, graded, protected?
Well, like, we see here's the problem with it, is that the idea that we go to CGC is because we can sell it for more money. And,
I feel like that's not the reason why you should support it. That might not be. A lot of people do.
It might not be true, Max, but that's what people believe. And so, therefore, the problem lies in that they're sending the books to CGC because of money, because of what they can gain from it if they go to CGC instead of CBCS. So it really takes, in my opinion, people who are just collectors to invest in outside grading companies like EGC, whose grading's on point, but they're not really there. You're not really doing it for resale value. You're doing it because you care about the book and you want a badass custom label, right? And so the problem with that market is that we're sending them to CGC because of the value that it will bring to the book. And that's unfortunate. Like, really, it sucks because it's about the money and not about the collector collecting books they love.
Right.
Really, but
Right.
it's really going to take a vast amount of people who care about books and that want to keep them, that feel like they trust grading and that the product is good enough. So one thing about CGC is I'll give them props because these custom labels they're making and the way that the label looks when they make those custom labels is just so rad, right? Like if you get a Silver Surfer custom label with your FF book, like it looks pretty sick because you're getting that classic artwork, and
Right.
they are still at the top as far as quality goes. As far as like the quality of the aesthetic, maybe they're not at the top because of they put hairs in books and they mislabel things and they got foreskin left in the slab when they're sending it away. It's the things that they do are just insane, but that doesn't mean that CBCS is still not fucking up. They're still doing mistakes as well. So they're still having those mistakes. If CBCS had a completely clean slate, that might be enough, but they don't, right? And so with that labeling system where you can get a custom label and then the resale value is higher, it's really up to the people who submit, but they still have the most superior product on the market as well as far as the aesthetic goes. And people just want their books to look nice, right? I don't know. Craziness. They want to be able to display it in the most pristine way possible. Really, if we hold the two up together, I'm not a big fan of light blue colors, period, but that gradient that goes to like light blue to like light is still much more appealing than just a light blue flat light blue. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so, they still have an edge. And even if it wasn't about resale value, they still have that edge.
Right.
Yeah.
Check out Valor Comic Service for pressing and cleaning. Is that local to me? Oof, Sean. Low blow. Valor Comics Services.
Hey, look, I looked up some of their slabs and they're really cool. The only thing that I have is I think with their slabs, the only security they have is like a security tape on the edge or something like that. Is that correct? So it's not that I wouldn't mind sending one of my own off, but I don't know that I'd buy an EGS from somebody.
Right now,
Just because I think what I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody please tell me, is you can get the encasements that they use on Amazon.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're like a clip.
Yeah, like if you're going to compete now, it's so late in the game. You have to have something that is completely sealed, potentially waterproof. If I were going to create a grading company right now, first off, the grading's got to be correct. But if it was going to be me and I wanted the edge, fully customizable labels, UV protection on my plastic, completely sealed, unbreakable. At least if it's breakable. If it's breakable, you can plainly see that it's breakable. If something's broken, you could see it. There's a way for a company to come in and even have the edge over CGC right now. And I actually talked to Edwin. I said, hey, you should start a grading company. Because he's an engineer and he can engineer these things. He has the mind for it if he really, really wanted to. And it would, there's no UV protection on these slabs right now. Mm-hmm. That's something you can have an edge in. And, making it waterproof, for instance, is something that's
fireproof.
Fireproof, sure.
Waterproof,
metal.
And
metal.
even if they incorporated somehow to hang them, because everybody hangs their slabs on a wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Maybe it was a package you could buy with it. Something you could actually purchase with it.
Well, I've had discussions with someone in the chat who will remain nameless, but incorporating something aesthetically pleasing to like the idea of displaying your comic books as like, birthstones. Birthstones are super cheap, but they're pretty, and something that's like very affordable yet aesthetically pleasing, something that's classy, or even a grading company that comes to your house, that makes calls that will
House
they don't
calls,
risk, yeah, they don't risk you shipping it to them. They come to you.
Right.
The book never moved from
like
your
the
house.
Geek Squad or the Nerd Herd or whatever they call it,
I don't know,
but
Yeah.
but
like for comic
uh,
books, not just
yeah,
for
Yeah,
fixing your
like,
Best
you know,
Buy
you've got like
devices.
to your door car detail shops, like dog groomers,
right,
Safe
hand.
Light,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
we only
massage
slab
therapist.
silver and gold, and we will come to you. And that's incredible because you got the assurance the book's never leaving your site.
That's dope.
Right.
You know, you have a completely customizable booklet that you can choose from, and it's all available on site to do. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, because I think the biggest issue that I know when I'm speaking to people in the community, it's not necessarily um, a it's not necessarily that it's always like there's issues, or because those happen few and far between, right? There's exceptions to the rule. But it's that it's taking so long and people don't want to send their expensive books away. I have one there now that's been there for 8 months and I have no idea what's going on with it. And just wait, you know what I mean? And hope that it comes back in time, or that you get tracking or whatever. I think that's the biggest issue that people are having, is the time and the inconsistency with what they're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just keeping my eyes peeled to see the improvements of both companies, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the community reacts to it. Whether you're a collector or a seller or anything in between, a shop, whatever, and if
Mm-hmm.
prices of slab books as opposed to raw,
Listen,
the same book raw.
here's an idea. This is just it's crazy, but all of us comic book people who sell comic books online at auction form a union, and we create our own company, and then quit the game and just retire. Let somebody else run the company, the grading company, and we all invest in it. Sounds fun and magical, but it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Steven
correct. The
Spock said
shipping is
cool
through the
pre-ratings
freaking
tonight.
roof.
Yeah,
Steven Spock.
love it.
Yeah, I hella pack the shit out of these books when I send them off for grading, and I know what kind of conditions I sent them in, so I'm ready to tear anyone new one.
Edwin, I'm right there with you. I fast tracked my books too,
Yep,
and I
I
sent
always
them.
do because
I
it's
sent
worth
them in
it.
March, and I haven't got them yet.
Well, I'm hearing different things. You know, if it's a modern book, I hear it's pretty quick turnaround. I know that there's people in the community that I've talked to that have gotten books pretty quickly, like on fast track. But
It's hit and miss. I've seen some people post that they're getting books 2 weeks,
that
two,
Yeah.
sounds
3 weeks.
yeah.
I
If
got
you
this
know,
one back in like 1 week, but they forgot to fucking grade it, even though that's what I paid them to do.
Right?
It says
you
art.
know, yeah, I think you said something about them expanding, like or hiring more people. Like,
Yeah.
really,
Mm-hmm.
there's no real way to hire thousands of employees that are going to be so careful or care so much that they're so careful not to get hairs in books or mislabel things or do the things that happens, but more people will be like different locations, I guess, will be helpful, at least only for turnaround times. Obviously there's no way to keep those things from happening uh because really people don't give a shit, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say, maybe there's 60% of those employees who just are working there and they don't really care, right? There's only maybe so many people who grade books that work there that actually have integrity. Like, we have to just think about, like, in generally companies that people work at, like, a lot of the employees don't give a fuck. But I'm not to say like all the employees don't give a fuck. So expanding those people that work, like creating a Midwest place for CGC, creating like different places where people can grade, is helpful for turnaround times
Right.
only, really only, unless there's an incentive for their employees to do good work, meaning you are going to get a bonus if you don't make mistakes.
Right.
then that's the only incentive they have, and people won't make mistakes. But there's no incentive like that, obviously, and it would have to be tracked very thoroughly by CDC. They would have to have a whole media team that would go in and see what people are posting. Watch their own hashtags. Like, it would be a whole ordeal and money for them to have to employ
Yeah,
people
like
to do that
give them
job.
incentive to do a
Yeah,
good job.
yeah,
Like a
they
lot of
would have to
places
have
do
it.
that.
Yeah,
Like a bonus,
but there's
raises,
no real
employee of the month
way.
shit.
Yeah, there's no real way to give incentive if they can't track the results of
Yeah.
disappointed people.
But they all have their individual identifying number per slab, so you'd think it wouldn't be too hard.
It would need I guess an easy solution would be every time you get a book slabbed, you can leave
Feedback.
feedback on each number of each book, right? So if I got 5 slabs back and one of them was labeled this number, and I was unhappy because it had a ding dong hair in it, I can say, hey, this had a ding dong hair in it. This is the number. Then it would be easily trackable. I guess there's systems that they can create that would help them out in that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But it's money. Are they willing?
It's money.
Are we ready for the last question?
Sure.
Okay. A little bit of a doozy. It's a touchy subject, but I have faith that we can handle it well.
Read it out loud to us.
Okay, I am discussing a touchy subject: inclusivity in comics when it comes to LGBTQ plus, etc. Is it just for the money to bring in more audiences, or do they actually care about being inclusive? Does your opinion of this change depending on the publisher? So, for example, we've got DC that's in on this. So we've always seen like a bunch of community companies that will they'll change their logo. So this one is Behemoth, 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 and then we got the Pride thing there. You got Wicked and Hulkling. We got this stuff. So do you think it's all just an act for money, or do you think they care about it? And do you think that it varies depending on the publisher? Like, do you think that someone was like, oh yeah, I have to do this to be inclusive and progressive, if it's like Marvel or DC, as opposed to someone who wrote a story that they actually had passion for and wanted to tell when it comes to like an indie?
I think that any agenda that you push too hard, whatever it is, can come across as a money grab. And it doesn't matter which agenda you're pushing. There's a lot of books out there that are geared towards that. Maybe their main characters are part of the LGBT community, but we don't know about it till we read it.
Mm-mm.
Right? So I think at the end of the day, it needs to be about good stories, no matter what the storyline is about. And let people find the surprise within the book. You should be able to read a book and be like, whoa, oh my God, not know everything that the book is about before it comes out.
All right, this is such a deep thing to ask, really. Like, there's so much
It
involved.
is.
It is. There's so much involved. I don't like Tate's comment, for instance. The fact that we have like 99% of comic book characters are white in general is a problem, right? That they're like, and I'm speaking only on the white black scenario where we don't have a lot of black characters in general, and a lot of times black characters are second rate characters. So you'll have like Blue Marvel, which is like technically a second rate Superman. You'll have Miles, which is technically a second rate Spider-Man. And the problem I think, and I've dug into this topic pretty deep, is that people of color don't appreciate having these characters just be second rate. They want a first rate character to
Mm-hmm.
represent
Or
them. You know
like
what I
we
mean?
discussed last week, hate that they're portraying our Black superheroes as being from a poor neighborhood, not having a father, like all the
Right.
stereotypical things. And like, sure, it's a positive message that they conquered that, but like, why does it have to be that?
Right.
You know,
So I think a lot of
every time.
outside of what I'm just assuming people of color don't appreciate um, is that those things are an issue, but outside of that issue, I feel like you're kind of addressing homosexuality in a way in comics, or gay characters, and we have that issue already where these characters that are being created are not original, that are necessarily people of color. They're not original characters. They're kind of those second rate characters, and I feel like that's a huge issue. um, but I really think the whole pool for the entire thing, obviously, is government. I have to bring politics into this just to address it, but I'm an anarchist. I believe in no government. People should rule themselves because I don't believe in slavery. But the whole issue is with the government aspect is that the government has worked really hard to suppress the the black person, and so they've done all these things, and now we're getting these books, we're getting these characters who are homosexual and and bisexual or pansexual, but we're still not getting that black character that is Miles, I guess, is a breakthrough character because he has meaning. He's meaningful for a lot of people of color, right? And that's
Well,
awesome.
he is, but also keep in mind that his dad disowned him and he has
Right.
his mother's last name. So he still kind of lives in that stereotypical
Right.
world
And I guess the
that they've
problem
created.
yeah, the problem is we're getting this homosexual expression, which is fair, it's fine, but we're still not getting that black expression. So I guess the thing is that government, in my opinion, is still to blame because we are not getting we're not getting the rightful representation of people of color, but now we're getting representation of less than 1% of the population, which is homosexual or transgender people. So I feel like the government is to blame because it's likely that those large corporations like Disney, like any large corporation, is largely controlled or influenced by government, and the people of color won't get that representation. Still, they will probably never get it over the homosexual
Who's Lily?
representation because the idea is to suppress the black people. So um, we obviously see it. We see it in education. We see it in all aspects of culture. So it sucks, that the government does these things, but they want to do those things, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. So there's no denying it based off what we see in real life. So we're going to actually probably get that representation of transgender more so than what the people of color deserve because I feel like these corporations are largely controlled by government. And it's such a deep thing to speak about. It could create a lot of controversy to talk about it, and it could mean that someone loses face over it. But I feel like government has a lot to do with corporations, especially Disney, and Disney's going to push that, whether it be just a virtue signal or not, or to be like we're being virtuous. They're always going to suppress people of color's representation in comic books, no matter what.
Right.
And we're going to get that transgender character, and they're going to push those characters, like Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, for instance. Like they're going to push that idea of Captain Marvel being less feminine, like in her physical form. Like I guess I'm not saying women aren't women's a whole other topic, but she used to be very big breasted, very big butt, very big, very thick, and voluptuous in ways, right? But gender is more important now. So to get us to be less gender like diverse, they will push us to be more gender alike. And so that's what's important to them. That's what's going to happen. And I don't know. It really depends on where you fall and who you are and what comics mean to you, where you fall on that line, you know. But it's terrible. I mean, I'm not happy with it, of course, at all.
But it is what's happening, yeah. And I think you're
Yeah.
completely right in your explanation of what's happening and what's going to happen. It is what it is, yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. But it's a it's a topic that it's a sensitive topic that we definitely
Yeah, very hard to talk about,
Mhm.
and you're
It
walking
is.
in eggshells, because you don't know who's there, you don't know who's in the chat, you don't know who wants to fucking kill you after you spoke. But um, there's no real good way to talk about it, other than to just be honest with yourself about what's really
Right.
going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Right. Channel
So
1 Aces 7 comment right there. Yeah. Need black superheroes to fight intergalactic threats. We talked about that last week, right? If they can fight, Dark Side or this person or that person, like, why in these comics are they now like cleaning up neighborhoods?
I like
Yeah.
this comment.
Fighting the regular people.
Yeah.
You know, we
Okay, I was
don't
reading
Not just
have-
always fighting
Yeah.
gang members and drug dealers and
right. Yeah, the whole Black Panther
petty
movie.
theft.
The problem, at least my problems were, is that Killmonger was just trying to take advanced weapons to the hood. Like what the fuck? Like really? Like there's obviously successful black people in the world who in some cases run the world, and there's success to be had. But like I said, I feel like government has done its damnedest to sabotage the black man, and now we're getting that in comics where it's just you have to you have to have that hero story where you come from nothing, but you don't have to. But you can still have that struggle where you're becoming something. You don't have to start in the ghetto, right? You can start just like any other character, lost, but maybe you come from money. Um, you know, Nighthawk, in the the Supreme Power series. He's like Batman. He's very rich and very ruthless in what he does. He's just like Batman in the sense that he's wealthy and has money. But unlike Batman, he's willing to kill anyone for what's right, at least in his eyes. I feel like characters need to be created in a way that they're not just like we've been talking about, not built from like the ghetto. Like it's
not
it's
stereotypical.
right.
Just throw a few twists in there. Don't be afraid to surprise
Create new
people. Like
ideas,
that.
new
That's
characters.
better for the story than the trope or the cliche.
Right.
We want something entertaining that grabs us in, give us that hook.
Yeah, for sure.
Change it up a bit, man. I think that's what Marvel and DC really need to learn, especially Marvel.
Anyway, girls, I'm sorry for talking so much.
Oh, you're good. You're good. That's what we're here for.
How do I undo that for Lily?
No, that honestly, Jim is obviously Lily. Like, based off reading what Jim's saying, that's Lily for sure. It's my opinion. I don't know if it's real, but
And Adam's right. The beauty of the community is that we should be able to talk about these things because guess what? At the end of the day, we are the one that are buying these stories. We are buying these books. So if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you like it, buy it. Put your money, invest your money into what you believe in.
Right. It's scary though, but obviously there's racism in the world. There's like my town is, made up of 99% white people. And like my dad's super racist. Like he's racist as fuck, but he'll act like he's not, but then he'll say racist shit. You know what I mean? So it's like there's all sorts of people in this community from all over the place in many different towns from many different backgrounds and situations. We're all different, and it's scary to talk about this shit because you could say one wrong thing and be on the chopping block forever, right? And it could have been something you said that you didn't intend in that way. And I feel like, yeah, if there was a community that we could really just like fuck the virtue signaling, like really it kind of takes a vetting system, but if we could really be honest about what we think's going on, and then I don't know, it just sucks because we are all different, right? And we all see each other differently. So I
Right.
don't know, it sucks, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to speak on, and it's touchy. It's touchy.
Yep. Put your money where your interests are. We control the market. Sam
Agree.
said it too. We control the market, you guys, all the way.
Like, I'm not gonna sell books unless I do have interest in them, unless they did hook me in. So
Yeah, Max.
Right.
That's all.
sometimes I do have books that I'm just like, I have it because it was just there. Seemed like a good idea at the
Right.
time, but like a lot of them are stuff that we like because we love
I feel
it.
like Max, like a lot of the buyers are predominantly Marvel fans, and then there's the occasional DC fans, but it's a small percent of indie fans, and like you have to have it there, or
Mhm.
it's incomplete. Like for your auction or your show, like there's people there who really care about indies only. They don't even give a fuck about Marvel or DC. They're just like, give me
Right.
indie. Yeah, it's important.
Yep. Very
What
true.
I'll say, variety is the spice of life, and
Spice it up.
it is, and that's awesome. If we were all the same, we would be bored.
Life would be
Right?
boring.
Yeah.
Dare to be different.
Lily, you fucking ass.
All right, Lily, have at it. Do you want me to put the question in again or just read it off?
Bring
Sorry that you're
his goofy
muted.
ass on here. Let's have him on.
Bring her silly ass on here.
Bring Lily on here.
Well, you guys figure that out. I'll be right back.
I have to pee too. Tricky, you're in charge.
She's never coming back because Lily's coming on. Listen,
I-
you guys, if Lily shows up, the show is doomed to fail.
Yeah, I don't need that. We have a
It's
reputation
okay.
to uphold.
We'll
I'm gonna go
burn
pee.
down. if
I
Lily
trust you,
shows up.
Trick.
You go potty.
Okay.
All right, guys. It's 1:07. What can we do? What can we do to make this show nuts? I'm joking. Go potty. So 11:08. I gotta get up early, so I'm gonna bounce probably like when they get back. Okay, Tacoma. If it wasn't for the MCU, I don't think I would have gravitated back to Marvel. I was almost predominantly indie for years. Yeah. I will say, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done huge wonders for the community as far as collecting goes. Obviously, it's brought people in that never thought they would be. It's the tricky show now. Never thought they would be comic book fans, but then they were like, "Hey, I really like Guardians. I really like this character. I really like this. Let me go read some books." Or they weren't like that, and they just are only predominantly MCU fans, and they never read a book in their lives. Trick did a tricky dip right now. That would be hilarious. James, this is your fault.
No, I just had to get more away. Are you dipping on us?
No. James was just saying it would be funny. So Tacoma had an interesting thing. He said he was, because of the movies he got back into Marvel. He was an indie guy, but the movies brought him back.
The movies have brought a lot of people to comics altogether. Yeah. And COVID, Sam says COVID. A lot of people got back into collecting. Yeah.
Max, why can't exclusive? All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done wonders for people who like newcomers getting into comics. And I feel like that's why Okay, so we all kind of know, we don't really talk about it, but we know that when the Marvel Cinematic Universe does something, those things affect the books. So you're not going to get into a Star-Lord book now and see him differently than you're going to see him in some sort of way that the cinematic universe has portrayed him physically. Where before he never wore a trench coat, right? He was like he was in that fucking galactic outfit, the Guardians, like where it was like probably in 2015 release, like that area where he they all pop up and they're all wearing the same gear, right?
Mhm.
They all have the black with like they all have an outfit. But
Right.
now you're never going to see Star Lord like you've seen him before. You're going to see him in this trench coat with red and goggles, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens when fans aren't appealed to those
Right.
things? So we may have seen. I guess I got to give an example. Maybe we know. I haven't read anything recently, but I mean modern. I read, but I haven't read anything modern where we see Thanos, you know, having a stick with like a spear sword double
Hmm.
edged thing. Obviously we know that Thanos has never needed anything like that to be badass. Like he's just badass, right, by himself. But it's likely that based off those movies, we'll see Thanos depicted in a way where he has a weapon of some sort, and super true Thanos fans might not appreciate it. Those types of things. We may have always liked the Mantis the way she looked in the books. You may have a true Mantis fan out there, but now Mantis is going to be depicted kind of close or similar to what we see in the movies. And we know this is a thing because of the way that What If was done is now, like, let's say the Watcher, we always see him a certain way. you know Now, from now on, like, things are just not the same, and it sucks, but I'm also rambling.
No, you're good. You're good.
We like listening to you. You've got a lot of valid points, bro.
I'll shut up.
That's why I was so happy you could stay.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great questions in the comment or in the chat. Yes. Yes.
Do
Yes, Spade. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like once, like that Hawkeye book, when we heard there was a Hawkeye show coming out, series, like Hawkeye #1, a boom,
Yeah,
straight
Right.
up.
it's really not even unprecedented. Like or not unprecedented. It's really not outside of the realm of okay, right? Like, we know that Hawkeye's coming out in case Kate Bishop's in there.
Mhm.
We know that Kate Bishop's going to grow in popularity, though a lot of people have never even heard of her, right? But I guess I don't appreciate it when Kate Bishop goes up because of what people think the sales will be at eventually. You know what I mean? I know I sell books for a living, but I just hate, like, the speculation uh, aspect of buying and selling and grading, like we talked about earlier. It sucks because I do care about books, right?
Just reading through the comments. And Turkey's gone.
He's gone. Yes. I'm gonna go up a bit. Let me, because you were gone.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so that was, yeah, we missed some. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Is that Kendall Jackson Merlot?
I feel
No.
like the older you are, the more conservative you are, the more opposed you are to change. I feel like it's more sincere when it's coming from an indie because they have to work harder for it, for those sales, for that publication and everything. Whereas when it's Marvel, it's just like another big company changing their profile picture to rainbow colors or a flag and stuff. Maybe some of them might be like, hell yeah, I love this. I'm doing this for the passion. Others might be like, I'm doing it so that we don't get like politically correct strike on our record. So it's hard
Look,
to
at
tell
the
with
end
those
of
bigger
the
companies
day,
because they're made of so many more creators and people that contribute, as opposed to these small independents where if everyone's not on board, it ain't happening.
whose comment or question are you referring to? Tacoma's?
I'm just talking in general, like.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're trying to expand their audience, but why are they trying to expand their audience of inclusivity? Is it for money, or is it for the right reasons? That's kind of what we're discussing.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
It's
At the
good
end
to
of the
be
day, we have to
included.
remember that we
course.
have to expand our audience anyways, because we need those new readers coming in, the new collectors. Like, that's what keeps any kind of industry going. It's just, is it done the right way or not? I think is the biggest question, and normally you wouldn't have to sell a book based on any sexual preference, whether it was heterosexual, homosexual, whatever the sexual preference was, would not be the selling point of any book. Right. In the past. And so the question is does it need to be the selling point of books going forward? And we talked about this a bit last week. I don't think any of us necessarily want to see any of that, whether, like I said, it's heterosexual, homosexual, whatever the sexual preference is in the book. We don't want to see any of that in the comic books. We just want to read really great stories, and there might be some situations that trickle in because it's happened in the past, but it doesn't need to be the focus.
Right. Yeah. The problem, I guess, and we'll all agree, is that we don't mind that if we don't mind characters that are gay, or what we care about is that they're characters that have been established for many years, that never spoke of it being gay or have never been gay, but then they are gay, right? And I feel like even people, like, say it's 1% of people who read comics who are actually, let's say it's 100% of people who read comics are actually gay. The problem is that they're characters that are being made. Those characters aren't. There's no new characters that are created that are gay. That are. I'm sorry, that's not true. What I'm saying is there's characters that are established that have never spoke of being gay, or that was never a thing that they were gay, and then they're now becoming gay,
Mm-hmm.
and that isn't good for people. I would assume that people who are gay don't even really appreciate that, because it's not a character. You know what I mean? They're being misrepresented. Represented. If you say that, if it's your view that people are gay at birth, for instance, and then they've never been gay in a comic book, and then eventually they're gay at some point, then you're being misrepresented as somebody who is gay in a book, right? So, I don't think it's appreciated by people who are gay. I don't know that to be true, but I would assume I don't think it's appreciated by people who have read these books for many years, and then eventually the character is all of a sudden gay, and now it's important. Um, and so, I think that's the core, is that people don't really appreciate these characters that they've known for many years and that they've appreciated for many years, are now just completely different, and now the focal point, like you said, is that they're gay. Like, there's comics out there where Hawkeye, I don't know what version of Hawkeye is gay, but where it's about Hawkeye being gay, and that's the book, is about him being gay. There's no real struggle against a classic villain,
Right.
and it's about, I'm obviously a huge Squadron Supreme fan, and there's a book that that is it's squat. It's like the Heroes Reborn, Hyperion and the Hyperion and the I don't, Hyperion and the shit. I can't quite remember it, but you know, they're based off those things. Is that people are being hired at these companies that are exclusively, like, the intent is to put that diversity there. People who are, say they're pansexual or homosexual or all sorts of sexuals, whatever's out there, these days. Not to diminish, but the intent is to say, hey, bring diversity to the book, right? And so in this case, the Shi'ar Empire. It's Hyperion and the Shi'ar Guard or something like that. In this case, like, the cover of the book is, Hyperion's not gay in the book, but it's very flamboyant. To be respectful, it's very flamboyant cover, or like at least he's depicted very flamboyantly in the book. And this character, for instance, doesn't even have like any sexual cares. Like, he doesn't see women as objects of affection. He's actually like, he doesn't understand why men in some books like care, like use women like that. He's like, I don't get this appeal like for affection towards others, because that's just not his like physiological makeup. And in the book, he's very depicted like flamboyantly, but there's also, outside of that, homosexuals in the book. So I think people are being employed to do this, and then I don't really think readers appreciate it. But I don't really think Disney gives a fuck what readers want.
No, I don't think any of them do. Yeah,
Yeah, they don't.
let's
And
keep it real.
which goes back to my point where I feel like government's involved, but they don't give a shit what you care about or what you think about these characters. This is the way they're going, and it's never going to stop, ever. And it's sad, it sucks, but on a light note, like in an encouraging note, is that there's millions of comic books out there that you haven't read, that you will enjoy. And so you don't have to seek for what's new and different if you don't feel like it's for you. There's millions of stories out there you haven't read, and we can hold comfort in the idea that there's still a lot of great things out there that we haven't explored.
Yes. Yep.
But those are only my opinions. Obviously, Lily might have others, and you guys might have others, and that's okay.
No, I think you have some great opinions. I think
Variety is the spice of life, and we can all be different. And it's okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of the points that you made tonight were extremely valid. Absolutely valid. Yep.
Invited
Has
Lily
wisdom.
here. Who invited Lily? That's what I want to know.
It was demanded.
Lily was demanded by one other person who wasn't Lily.
Yeah. Jim, I think was his name.
Damn it, Jim.
Damn it, Jim. What's up, Hidden Gem? Yeah, what are some topics that you people in the chat want to discuss, maybe that touch on any of the topics that we've discussed? I think there was 5 different talking points we just ran through. Just went hard at them.
Which one of them could have taken up the whole segment?
Yeah,
Sorry.
any one of them could have taken
No,
up.
No, it
every
could have.
segment.
Yeah.
I'll be less talking.
No, keep it up.
But yeah, if there's things, damn it, Jim. Yeah.
I don't believe you're certified for either, Lily.
Lily is also a Jim, in my opinion. I'm just going to clarify that. And for you guys who don't know, me, Lily, and Max go way back into time. So
Nebraska
we're very
times.
familiar with Lily here.
Mm-hmm. I'm drinking because of y'all.
If there's anything in the
Cheers,
chat
everyone.
you want to talk about,
Cheers.
it's okay. We
Okay,
all
cheers.
have. I'm trying to like highlight people's comments. It's super stupid
Cheers.
because I'm not used to not
Any
highlighting.
insight on the questions asked? Which question?
The one that I keep highlighting because I like it so much.
Which
that
one?
your boy said, and I
Oh,
said
that
right on my
one.
screen.
Well, see, and that's the thing is that because before he said that, okay, I get it. How do we know when we are looking at a hero that is LGBTQ? Because we know when we're looking at a hero what race they are, right? Like, you can't hide that. You can't hide that. And the only way I feel that we know when we are looking at somebody who is LGBTQ is
when the villain calls them the F word.
When they say they are, or when the book.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was
their
like,
story,
what?
With
No.
Mary Jane and
They
Peter
have to
Parker.
We have to be
You
told.
get to see that develop.
Yeah,
we have to be told. And that's what's happening right now is we're being told all of these things. At the end of the day, I think anybody's sexual preference is private.
Yeah.
You know, I talk to other people about this. You guys don't know what sexual preference I have. We don't know what Max have. We don't know what Tricky has. Like, that's something
True.
until we put it on the forefront and we say something.
Right.
That's a private situation. It's not supposed to be the forefront of who you are. But
Right.
none of us on the panel can change the way we look. We cannot change our skin color. We can't change, dye your hair. You can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, we know
I can't change my
race
age.
based on what we see generally. And I think that goes back to what Tricky was saying with the representation of Black heroes in comics. It's like we skip that part. You know,
Yeah.
we went from to the regular norm that we've had, and then we went to this other issue, and we forgot. Not
What's
we, but
important. Right.
right. We forgot to really
It's true.
represent.
It's really
Yeah.
truly, and this is a ballsy thing to say, Black representation in comics is more important than sexual preference.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
Like, there's no doubt about it. At least in my mind, if it crucifies me, I believe it to the death. It's yeah, and so we don't know until we're told.
Right.
It's not even a part of the hero's journey. It's not why we even read comics. We don't give a fuck
We want them to
about
like
who
beat
you're
the bad
fucking.
guy's
Right.
ass, you know?
Yeah. We need a story where the hero learns to be better, gets better, defeats the villain that's giving them that doubt.
Right.
Like you know, we need that hero's journey, and it's happened in every story since we were kids, in every movie, in every comic. It's something that we care about. It's that story where there's the hero's journey from being at the bottom and coming to the top. And when you skip that, you know what I mean, and you're just talking about whether they like to fuck or kiss the same gender, then you're losing what we as humans feel like we can achieve in our own lives. We feel like we can start at nothing and become something. And we need that connection with our characters.
Thank you.
And so when you don't have it, then it doesn't even matter about who you care about kissing, what gender you care about kissing, you know what I mean? It's just it's so ridiculous that we've came to this point and we skipped what really mattered and what representation we really called for.
Right.
There's a whole, like, every, honestly, I would say, like, based off my own experiences, Hispanic people in the community collect more than, like, almost white or Black people. And we've skipped representation of characters that needed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I created a logo for someone who was Hispanic, and they were like, "What if?" They said, "What if Gambit was Hispanic?" You know, and that's not even really an important question, but we've skipped all these other race factors that we need in comics because it was so dominated by white characters for so long. It's not even just about Blacks. It's like about all these representations of characters that would be heroes in the real world if people were heroes. Like, if we had those superpowers, it wouldn't just be white people. It wouldn't just be Black people. It'd be Hispanic people. It'd be um, it'd be people from all over the world, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. But we need that representation there. And the least important thing is about
And we need
who.
the right representation.
Yeah,
Like, I see that Marvel, who is it? What's the name on there? Marvel said there's quite a few Black superheroes, and that there is. But the
great.
representation of them it's not the best. Like
It's not
Tricky
the
said
same.
earlier, they're like B-list celebrities.
Yeah,
You know what I
they're
mean?
the second-rate characters of people who are already established.
You've got
We
right
need.
now Icon and Rocket are who are fighting crime and drugs and crackheads in their communities, but Superman gets to go fight, aliens and supervillains and this and that. So the
And
representation of them and the fights they get to have are never the same.
right, and we really only have Black Panther that is actually a mainstay,
And he's not even from the United States at the same time.
It doesn't even have to be that he's from the United States. But his name is legitimately like based off a movement in the United States. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Black Panther is like something iconic, like in rebellion to white like supremacy, like to white crimes against Black people. Like it's still not even as pure as it should be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a name like Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Black
I get
Panther,
what you're saying.
it's a great name. Like it really is. And he's a great character, but it's still not even as good as it should have been. Like Black Panther should have came out of nothing, but it didn't. It came out of something that's a real issue. You know what I mean? He should be who he is and as badass as he is without fucking the politics that are associated with the name Black Panther. Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? And
right.
yeah, we need, you know, we need it. Like we need it because it's craziness that it's not there, but we need it.
Right. Definitely what Spade said. That's channel 1A7. It's my man Spade. Yeah, I don't think anybody can write about somebody else's life that hasn't lived it. So I definitely think they need more Black writers to write the stories.
I love where we're taking all this. Yeah, we need all the variety of people when it comes into it. And the thing with indies and why there's so many different independents, I think, is because we have so many different little groups. Now, imagine if we took all those groups and put them together in a room, and they can be more inclusive without like overdoing it, so to speak. Yeah. Like they can tell all these different stories that anyone can relate to. Like a straight white male could relate to. If your writing is good, people will love it, regardless of what you're putting in there.
Right.
And you guys, I talked about it earlier, so if you have a problem with what I'm about to say, go back and listen. Even oftentimes when we get Black creators there, their personal struggle is like so fucked up and extreme that those ideals still bleed into what they create because of government, because of where they really came from. Like, and that's what's fucked up is that, like, not in every case, but there's still going to be a lot of cases where Black creators have gone through the struggle of racism, the struggle of poverty, and their ideals of the come up is going to bleed into what they create because the struggle is real, right? Like it's their own experiences. They're trying to identify with the characters they're creating. So it all leads back to like government, like fucking over like a whole race of people.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like even still when we have those creators there, they get unseen and they're supported, but they're mainly supported by Black people. They have a Black creator who's started a GoFundMe for their book, and then it sucks that that they've based off the government their book is revolved around people on the come up in that way because of the government. And so it I don't know, it's a wide fan of bullshit, but I feel like it all affects the way creators come up with characters are conveyed and what we're actually ever going to see by any of these corporations who only give a fuck about fucking us all because they don't
I'll
give
be
a fuck
right
about
back.
it, right? It's terrible. It's a terrible cascading effect of bullshit. But I don't know. Damn you, Max. Why'd you bring me on here tonight? I just want to talk about Squadron Supreme.
Talk about him.
No, it's okay. I thought for the guys here, I thought we were talking about my favorite story, and I was going to talk about it. I got all my books out. What do I know? All Ice Matter, mic drop. Ooh, what a crazy thing. it's all crazy, man. Even saying that type of shit, like, can get you real fucked in the ass.
Yeah, no.
And it's like one of those things where I know this is not really about comic books anymore, but like, saying something like social justice, like the term social justice should be a term that's good. But when you bring it about now, social justice has this idea where it's bad because social justice warriors are doing bad things, right? Or whatever people's opinions are. Like saying something that's positive and putting a bad connotation on it based off what people are doing. Like this comment where all lives matter could be offensive to half people because they might say, "Well, you don't understand." And though all lives should
Yeah.
matter, there's a bad thing there now because it's been it's been turned into something else,
Yeah.
right?
It's been, yeah.
So yeah, it's fucked. I mean, you can't really say anything anymore without triggering some bullshit.
You can't, but at the end of the day, you know what? You have to be mindful and say what's right. And Tricky, you've said a lot of great things tonight. I have to commend you for that because at the end of the day, we have to, like you said, we got to remember we skipped an entire group of
Genres,
people and
yeah,
we went to another place.
that people don't really care about. Really, like the majority of people don't care about. Which, not to say that they're not important, because they are important, because everyone's important. But we're taking it to a place where it's something else that's still pretty new, and even though it's been going on for millions of years, you know, ancestry, homosexuality, that's what it means to be gay has been going on for years and years before we were born, and you know before our parents were born, before our grandparents were born, millions of years or however
Mhm.
long the earth is really been there. you know I know it's taboo, but this whole thing where we've skipped what should be there based off what real comic readers need. Like, you know, I don't know. It's nutty. It's all zany to even speak about without mixed feelings and hurting people, but it's disgusting. It's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. Anyway, how we're gonna end this show on a good, happy note? Let's pose a question that
Buy what
brings
you like,
smiles
love
to
what you
people's
buy.
faces. Can we pose a question that brings smiles to people's faces?
Yeah, Miles is mixed. So here's another question that we got that kind of got overlooked if you scroll way back up. Um, we'll finish off on this one. Sans Group, earlier he asked, what are the factors that make a book or a series hot?
Speculation.
More power to you, Lisa. I think that's badass bitch movement. Hell yeah.
I feel like
Right.
speculation makes it hot. Like, think
It
about
does.
what's new. Like, we all gravitate towards what's new. Like, so let's just say like Eve, for instance. Like, it was the new book. Like, we're like, oh, Eve. Let's grab
Right.
Eve. Let's sell Eve. Let's grab
Everyone.
Eve. But it was speculation. But
Mm-hmm.
at some point, that speculation may come to fruition to be something soon, right? So
Like something's killing the children. A lot of people think like, yeah, it's a good story, but it's not that crazy. Or Stray Dogs. Like I thought it was
straight
good,
up,
but I didn't think it was like wildly
some
like
people loved it.
mind
Yeah.
blowing or
So
anything,
Yeah,
but here
I
we
got
are. It's maybe
about
an introduction for kids to horror. I don't
about
know.
halfway through Something is Killing the Children. I was like, I was a little bored.
yeah,
I would say probably past issue like number 8. I was kind of like,
right. We're all happy about it, and that speculation drives the market. Like, we're like, oh, this is going to be something someday. We're going to buy it and we're going to sell it. It's going to be fucking
right,
fantastic. Ha 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 ha, I'm going to be rich. We're going to buy 100 copies of it. I'm sure Sean Ryder or James or whoever's in the chat bought too much of some sort of book that was new because they thought it was going to be hot. So the
I have done that I do that.
Only
I buy
dry
all
fit.
the different first
It's almost
issues
the
that I
only
think are
only the
hot.
spec. It's almost
It's all
only the spec.
spec. It's
Yep.
FOMO and
How much can you
speculation. And
resell it for?
worst case scenario, it goes
Right.
into a $5 pull box or something, you know?
Right. We've all done that. Everybody's done that. Yep.
Yeah.
Huh,
Terrible.
okay.
I like Shutter's answer.
A movie makes a book hot. Yep.
James
I never-
does his fucking hardcore research. I don't know what kind of algorithm
So,
he's got in his
You
fucking
feel like
brain, but he
James
does
never
spec right.
speculates wrong?
Hmm.
Listen, James is an old school guy.
He is.
But do
He
you see
doesn't-
what he sells?
Yeah, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to spec on anything new
He knows
because
too much.
old shit sells fine, just
He
fine.
must be eliminated.
It sure does.
Old Silver Age, or old hotkeys always are going to.
Silver Age is always going to be because
Yeah.
it's only going to get better with age. Modern
And
books,
if
it's
you-
like a fucking weird ass hopscotch game you're playing, like, but on Squid Games and shit. Like,
If you have
you don't
silver hair
know.
on if you have silver hair on your balls and you only spec on silver hair, you're always going to do good.
I love that. You're such a fucker.
Yeah.
That's why we love him. He's a big brother I never got to have.
Yeah.
My parents had me and they said, no.
Do we
no
have more questions? Are we
Yep.
good? What are we doing?
Are we wrapping it up?
Oh, no. Yeah, does anyone else have any questions in the chat? I'm going to give you 5 minutes tops, and then we're probably going to bounce because Tricky is falling asleep. Tortoise shells aren't smooth.
I just moved like a tortoise.
Silver hair on your balls. That's right. You guys don't forget to tune in next week on my channel. I'll drop the link
Yeah.
again. We will be
It's also
there.
in the description, all of our
Okay.
links. I'm going to edit it to add Tricky's.
There's my link. We will be there next
Oh,
week.
oh, look what Shutter said. Oh.
So I do want to say right quick, there's a person in the community you may not know. She buys comics and she likes comics, and her Instagram name is Nephilim's Village. Nephilim's _village.
How do you spell that?
That's NEPHILIMS _village. She is a collector. She's just going through some tough times, going through a divorce. Her landlord selling the house, and she started a GoFundMe. And
Can you spell it again? Sorry. I'm going to drop the link in
no,
the
that's
chat.
okay.
NEPHIL.
I'll do it.
Send you the link to her page.
Oh,
Let me
okay,
just
perfect. Put it in
share.
the private or in the chat.
Just
the
gonna
live
do it
chat.
through. I'm just doing it through Instagram. So
Okay.
Nephilim's NEPHILIMS _village. She is a collector. She's been mainly buying on Whatnot, but she does buy from people in the community. Jeff Hard to Come By, Gorilla Todd, me, Shelby, just different people that she's fond of, and she's going through a lot of shit in her life right now. So on Monday, this coming, I'm doing like a charity auction for her. In that description, I'm going to have her PayPal, and then also the link to her GoFundMe. She just needs help with food, general bills. She's got 3 kids. She's a really sweet girl. If you need her Instagram, just hit me up on Instagram.
I just put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Max did.
Yeah, charity auction for her. So if you guys have anything you want to jump on the screen and donate, or you want to send a donate, you can just donate straight to her directly, which is probably the most helpful because she needs relief as soon as possible. So that's going to be something. I know that Amber's going to be there. Max may be there. Sans Group is going to be there. Yahweh, potentially Whodat. Sans Group will be there. Jeff Hard to Come By will be there. Shelby Comics will be there. And probably a couple other people based off your desire to show up as well. And it's just to help her with her bills, with up and coming bills, with food, to feed her children. She's embarrassed to even ask, but she's a really good person.
She shouldn't be.
So,
This is what the community's all about.
yeah,
Watching each
I
other's
understand
back.
what it feels like to need dire help, right? And
Mhm.
to be desperate. And so we obviously care, and she's a good
I've been
person.
homeless
So
before. I would never wish that on anyone in this community.
we're gonna be there for her on Monday on my channel. So sub me
Fuck
up
yeah.
there, and then obviously I want you to donate. Come on screen. Maybe you feel okay with it. Come on screen, sell something.
I'll join you Monday. I'll do charity auctions. I have
Yeah,
a few
I'm
books
gonna
that are bigger that I can sell and just donate the proceeds to.
I'm gonna be
That'd be
tossing
dope.
PC books out, PC art out, just to help her out because that's what's important. So, all right, that's all I have news for
All
Monday
right.
night. Yep.
Max, can you share my screen for you
Yes.
guys? All right, you guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night.
Oh, snap.
Let me hit play on this. Oh, you guys can't hear it.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
There you go. All right, you guys, tomorrow these two will be head to head on Sam's channel for blank cover battles. So make sure you guys tune into that tomorrow
You
night.
can
Super
see
dope.
we're buddies. Well, we're buddies. So we've been
We're all
scheming
buddies.
against the whole people who are putting us up against each other. So I'm happy if he wins because
9
he's
p.m.
been at this a lot longer and he's
9
awesome.
p.m. Eastern Tate. But yeah, me and Max are gonna go head to head in a sketch cover battle. Obviously, I'm gonna crush and win. I mean, I don't
Yep.
want to.
I'm gonna walk and limp away in shame.
It will be us two. Listen, you guys. I hope there's a huge upset. I don't want to be the guy who wins because listen, I've done sketch battles. I've done drawing battles before. I feel like an asshole for winning. It's just the way that it is.
We're
But
bros.
yeah, it's all good
We're
between
bros.
us. There's no hate,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna be talking some mad shit on the show.
It wouldn't be you if you weren't. Like I already anticipated that.
When don't you? That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
we
When
talk shit
don't
to each
you?
other.
I was
It's our love
really wishing
language.
Phil
It's like
Twice would
the
be
more
there,
we
man,
shit on each
because I
other, the
was
more
gonna
we love
punch
each
Phil
other.
Twice in the ass. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we're gonna battle. We kind of have a strategy.
Yeah, we talked
And
on each other without. We talked to each other without the people, the managers.
yeah, we're just gonna
We
both
got-
do what we want, and they have to grade us accordingly because we both cheated. No, I'm joking. We're not doing that, but you know, it'll
You
be
never know.
fun. It'll be a fun show tomorrow. It'll be a fun
That's
show.
right.
Yep, Sans
I
Group
can't
Collectibles on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for me.
Vote for Pedro.
You vote for Max. I don't care who you vote for. Vote for whatever sketch crew you really like the best.
Are they letting us vote, or is it a panel of judges or something?
They're gonna be judging, but I think
They'll
probably
find out.
has some say in
Fuck
it.
around, find out. Yeah,
They should have the chats that have the say.
Show up tomorrow and find out what happens.
they should do some kind of poll.
Yeah, I'm
or
just gonna
something.
draw. What's that guy? What's the other dude's name? That's gonna be
Aaron.
No, the other guy.
Bob.
Harm's Way. I'm gonna draw a picture. I'm gonna draw a picture of Sans Group riding Harm's Way with a red ball in his mouth and all strapped up.
I dig it.
Wouldn't you guys shit? It's just like just Sans Group riding Harm's Way like on the back with a red ball in his mouth. That'd be fucked up. I'm joking. I'll do my best.
Chat input helps. Ooh, so the judges can be bribed. Did you hear that, chat?
It's
Yeah, drop your link, Sans. Let me make sure that you have a wrench. Yeah, you do.
He does. Yeah.
While you do drop your link, I have a giveaway here. Do either of you have a good question for the chat that you'd like?
Tricky, it's on you. I suck at questions.
A trivia question.
Yeah, what was the first question that Max posed to the audience?
All right, start lines in there.
In general, what was the first question that Max posed to the audience in general? It doesn't have to be.
We had 5 questions. What was the first one? Oh, Kramer Cash got it. Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be It doesn't have to be word for word, but in general, what was it about? And then we'll have Max be the judge of what the question is. The
Wrong,
answer.
Alex.
Why is Tricky on my show? He got
I
it.
invited him. I invited.
That's a question everyone else asks, not Max.
How's everyone doing? No, the first topic.
The first
Yeah,
topic
I had
that Max
5
posed
topic questions. What was the very first one?
tonight.
Tonight, yeah. On the show tonight. And this is the giveaway. It has been optioned. Dr. Volley Round number 1A first print. It's
You have to do
about a
some
$10 or
rewinding.
$15 book. It'll probably shoot up once they drop the show or movie or whatever they're doing.
You have to do some rewinding.
Yeah, we might be here a minute.
Yep,
Oh my God, Lily.
they're scrolling up.
Lily, this is why Amber banned you from my channel.
This is why I would ban Lily from any channel I'm on ever if I have the
Freeway
opportunity.
got it.
No,
Freeway got it.
that wasn't the first.
Second Prince.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-mm.
It was kind of about. I mean,
It was. Look at the private chat.
Okay.
Number 2
all right.
is
private
how will
Nope.
images.
Nope. Don't talk. Okay, I see. So number 1 though. What was number 1?
Number 1 was the question I asked you, Tricky.
Oh.
I'll put it in I'll put it in the private chat because it
Let's
wasn't
do
in the
that.
private
That's
chat.
fair. That's fair. Yeah. What was the first question asked? Period on the show. You guys gotta go.
Because
Okay.
that was the topic that we were discussing for a good 20 minutes.
That was. I get you. Go back.
Here, it's in the private chat. The answer.
So
Okay, so
lost.
Sean Ryder.
Right, Sean, I'm lost and I'm here.
No, the question is, what was the first question posed to me or the chat about what was the very first question of this particular show? What was the topic? And so there was a question asked. It was the very first question asked. So just go back.
Lisa got it.
Lisa got
She
it.
said using a reference cheating. She's got it.
She got it.
That's fair.
And-
Check the
You
private
know
chat.
what? Yeah.
Here's what I said. I'll post the question again.
How are you?
Question number
How
1
are
is
you? Yeah,
cheating
you're right.
to use a reference. Is there a point where you draw the line? Where is it? Did Freeway say it first?
No, they were talking about the second prince because that's the first one you posted in the chat.
Yeah.
Lisa's
I didn't-
got it.
I feel like I
Congratulations.
copy pasted that in the chat. I don't know. But that was the one we did. So Lisa, this is coming your way. Hit me in the DMs. And I think I had a few other books I wanted to show if you were interested. But yeah, that's yours.
Cool. Awesome. It's Tricky Reptilian. I'm not.
Nope.
But I know who is.
We're going to do our hearts up.
Hearts up, my friends. Hearts up, fam. What are the people? They do this nowadays.
Do they?
Or this, the way that it
TikTok
looks
or
like a heart.
goddamn Instagram or whatever they do.
I'm gonna go ahead and no,
Yeah, go for it.
show my ass.
Adios, guys. Tune in tomorrow on
Hasta
Sand
lasagna.
Blank cover battles next week, Friday. My channel. We love y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Monday, my channel.
Monday for the charity auction. That's right.
Monday on his channel for charity auction. Help us out, fam. Thanks to everyone who joined. Thank you for sharing your opinions and giving us some riveting discussion topics. All right. See you guys.
Bye.